Today we're going to continue with the Hugging Face datasets series, and we're going to have a look at how to use the builder scripts. So with the builder scripts we can do a few things. So we can include data pre-processing within the data loading pipeline. We can stream from another sort of remote data source, which is pretty useful if you are using a data set where the owners of that data set want the data to be streamed from their server, which happens quite a lot. Or if maybe you have your data set split into multiple files, or you have images in your data set, or something along those lines. In those cases, you always need to use one of these dataset building scripts. So what I'm first going to do very quickly is show you how I created a compressed file for this demo. So we're going to create, let me show you. So we're going to go over here, so into this James Callum HF datasets repo on GitHub, 01 builder script. We're going to here, you will see this file here. So this dataset tar.gz file. So this is a zipped or compressed file, and we're actually going to stream our data from this exact location. So if we go on here, you can see we have this download link, the download button. We're just going to copy that link address, and we're going to use that to stream our data into the dataset building script. So very quickly, how did I build that? You can actually have a look at this file here. So all I'm doing is I'm taking this, the Reddit topics data set that I've built already, very similar to the data set we used in the last video. It's just a little bit bigger, so it's not massive. It's 3.8 thousand rows. All it convert to pandas, convert it to a dictionary, or using the records orientation there, and then save that as a JSON-L or JSON lines file. Then we compress it using this. So you'll probably, if you have your own data set and you want to compress it and kind of follow the same steps we're doing here, this is what you will need. So you need to add your dataset file to the zipped compressed file here, and use tar file. This I believe is actually installed by default with Python, so you won't have to pip install that. So with all of that, we can go ahead and actually have a look at how we build our dataset building script. So we start with a template first. So we come over to Hugging Face here and go over to datasets, and let's go for squad. Okay, so go here. So squad is just a very popular dataset, and I think in one of the tutorials they use it as like a template for building your own scripts, and that's probably where I got this from. But I just by default I go to this dataset and use this as my template if I'm building a new dataset loading script. So come over here. So within the builder script I have a few things here. JSON lines, just you can see what is in there. I can actually delete that. I don't need that anymore. So just remove that. What I want to do is create a Python file, and I'm going to name it the same as my dataset. So I'm going to call this the Reddit topics tar.gz, because that's what I'm going to call this dataset. Okay. And this all, okay, we're going to modify a lot of this, but for now I'm not going to touch too much. We just want to focus on the essential things that we need here. So first thing, we don't need this. It's like added complexity that isn't necessary. Class, we'll call it sort of Reddit tar.gz, I suppose. It's fine. Or Reddit topics tar.gz. Builder configs, this doesn't matter. This does matter, but we will mess around with that later, not now. So let's focus on what actually matters right now. So here we have this download manager, and we're gonna look at download manager a bit more in the next video. But for now, Download Manager is essentially a Hugging Face datasets utility that allows us to, given a particular file, either local or on the internet, we can download it and extract the contents of it. So this is why I formatted the datasets file as a tar.gz file, because I want to use this download and extract function or method. So what we need to do is so I'm going to change this to URL. I'm going to come up here where we define URL. Actually remove that. And here, I'm going to replace that with the location that I copied earlier. So let's see if that won't work. So I need to copy it again. So if I go to here, the repo again, go to 0 build a script, the location of the compressed file, go there. And then where it says download, I'm going to copy that link and I'm going to put it in here. Okay. So with that description, we can call it demo. I don't know. We'll change the other things later. With that, this here will kind of almost work. So there's just one thing. So we're downloading this URL, but with Squad, there were 2 URLs. Okay, so if I actually go back a little bit, you see that there was these 2 URLs, one for the training set, one for the development set. We only have one, so we actually need to modify this a little bit to deal with just one data set, not 2. So here we need to return split generator. We actually just remove this one, the validation split, because we just have a training split. And the download files is actually not going to be this. It's going to be, so this is basically going to show us a path to a particular location. Let me show you exactly what it's doing. Okay, so we're going to do from dataset, sorry. Import from datasets utils, import download manager. It might not be there, maybe it's here. Let's see. Okay, it was there. So DL manager, and I'm just going to initialize it. This is kind of happening in the background of our builder script. So we don't actually do this in the builder script, it just kind of happens. So we do that, and then let's just copy what we have elsewhere. So we have the URL, and it is this. Okay, that is the URL. And let's just see what this outputs. So download manager, download and extract URL. Okay, let's see what we get. We'll call this out. Okay, so we see we get a file path from that. Now, okay, interesting. So let's have a look at what is in that file path. So OS lister out. Okay, so now we can see we actually have that JSON lines file that we put inside our compressed tar file. So, okay, what does that mean for us? It means we can actually just load that from here based on what the download manager is giving us. Okay, so this is like a cached location for our particular data set. So return to the builder script. We have download files. I don't really like the name, so I'm just going to call it path. I'm going to say path here as well. Remove train. And if we just have a look at the path, it is just the directory that contains our dataset.json, okay, or JSON lines file. So actually what we need to do is we need to do like out plus dataset.jsonl. Okay, this will give us a full path to our file. So that is what we're going to do here. So where are we? So path, let's make this a bit easier to read. Okay, come here, zoom out a little bit. Okay, so it will be path, and then here we have dataset dot JSON-L. Okay, and yeah, that's a split generators function here, and what that will do is you see that we have this file path here. That is going to get passed along to this generate examples function or method, and it is this method that is going to kind of output the rows of the data set to us. So what we need to do is actually just use this to kind of read our data set. Now, just kind of doing that from scratch without seeing what is happening is kind of hard. So let's return to the notebook file and see how we can do that. So we're here. We have our, let's call this file path now, because this is what we've created in the other file. So file path. And what we want to do file path is, well, first we need to import JSON, because it's a JSON lines file, so we're going to have to read that. And exactly, we actually want to do this, so as FP. I don't think we even need to put encoding there, but we'll put it to be safe. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through that. So for line in FP, because it's a JSON lines file, so there's just lines of data. Each one of those lines represents a JSON object. So we are going to, well, we can just print it for now in here. So let's put a count on this. So we print out a few items, but not too many. So if count is equal to 5, break. Okay, let's see what we get. Okay, cool. So we can see that we get a few items here, right? So we're just kind of going through those. We've read the file and we're just looping through and printing them. So we can do the same over in our other file in the builder script. So let's come to here, copy this in for now. All of this we can see here, okay, some of this we will need, not all of it. So let's go ahead and just remove what we don't need. Okay, this is all we need, this yield. So, because this generator example was creating a generator function, right? So let's come here, remove parts of this. So the line, or the, should call it a record, is equal to JSON.loads line. Maybe we'll call it object. Okay. And within that object, we have a few different key value pairs, right? So what are those? Well, we can have a look at the make tar file file, and we have all of these here. So we have subtitle, self-text, upvote ratio, ID, and create UTC. Now, we can actually just pass all of these directly onto the next, or we can yield all of these. So let me show you what I mean by that. So we come here, and you see that we're just yielding, and then we're yielding this dictionary type structure for squad, right? For us, we already have that dictionary type structure because we use a JSON lines file. This is one of the reasons I like using them. So we can actually just do yield key object like that. Now, okay, what is key? Key is actually the index value or ID value if you want, but it's an index value. So I'm going to rename it index because that makes more sense to me than key. And yeah, here we go. So we have set everything up here. We're going to open the file located, or let's do that and read the lines. Load file object or JSON object. And yeah, we just yield them. So what would that do? When we are loading the function, or when we are loading the data set over in Hugging Face datasets, this is going to be the thing that generates all of those items. So what we should do now is maybe we can test it and see what happens. It won't work straight away. We'll see, but let's try. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy all of this. Then I'm going to come over to Hugging Face. I'm going to click on my little icon right over here, click New Dataset. I'm going to call it Reddit Topics tar.gc, create that. And I'm going to come to Files. I'm going to add a file, create new file. And this is just going to be Reddit Topics tar.gc, so the exact same file we created before. And I'm just going to paste all of that code in there. Okay, so you can see we have all this code. Let's just remove this. I think it's that important. It's not squad anymore, so let's just call it Reddit Topics tar.gc demo dataset. One thing we do need is we need to import JSON, so it's good that it's already there. We don't need this anymore, but let's keep it in there for now before we start removing everything, creating more errors. So let's commit that, and then let's just try and see what happens, okay? So I'm going to create a new file to test it, so xx test dataset. And what we're going to do is from datasets, import load dataset. And the dataset, we'll just call it data, load dataset. And we can find the dataset name over here. So I'm just going to click here, copy that. And there is just one split in this dataset. So split equals train. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, we download the build script. So far, so good. Downloads the data. And then we get this, okay, what is this? OS error. Come down here. Cannot find data file. Okay, so if we had a look at this, so without this dot here, we can see that the data file is there. So we have our first error, which was not on purpose, but that's fine. So the reason we have that is because here we put a dot. I'm not sure why I did that. So let's save that. And actually, let's just edit it in the web editor here as well. So let's remove that. Commit changes. And then let's try again. Okay, let's come up here. Let's clear everything, restart, and let's go again. Okay, so now we get this key error. So what does that mean? Key error context. Okay, I don't remember putting context anywhere. So let's have a look at the builder script. And if we, okay, let's have a look. Okay, here we have this. So we haven't modified this yet. Now, what is this telling us? It's basically telling the dataset builder which features to expect in the dataset. So basically down here, we're kind of feeding in these different features. We're feeding in these records. Each record is a key value pair. So the keys are the feature names and the values are obviously values which have a particular data type. Now, here we have the feature names, so the keys, but they are not aligned to our actual dataset. These are using the squad dataset key value pairs. So we need to come over to this file and we can get those features specific to our dataset from there. So let's take these, I'm going to copy them across here. And all I'm going to do is actually just write those here. Okay, so we have subtitle, self-text, upvote ratio. We have ID, and we also have another one. So let's create another. Well, actually, let's make this one more normal first. So ID is this, and then we have one more which is created UTC. Okay. Now, we can try this. It's not going to work again, but let's try. Okay, let's rerun this, see what happens. Okay, so actually it does work, but it's not working in the way that we might expect. So if we have a look at data and 0, okay, we have subtitle, self-text, and then we come down here. There's a lot in this self-text. But so just look at this. So the upvote ratio, which is a floating point number, is now a string. the ID, that's fine. We should expect that. And the created UTC, which is also floating point number, is now a string as well. So there's a bit of an issue here. Basically, if we go back to our script, when we are feeding the features through this sort of feature specification, it's seeing that we're saying everything should be a string, and it's converting everything into a string. We don't actually want everything to be a string. So what we need to do here is use a specific Apache Arrow data type identifiers for different things. So for example, float that we have here. Okay, so let's go ahead and have a look at how or what that might be. So to find that, I'm just going to type like Apache Arrow data types here. So Apache Arrow data types and schemas maybe. We come here and we can see a load of these. So we have integer values, unsigned integers, and then we have floats. So I'm going to say, okay, single precision floating point type is perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to copy that, float 32, and I'm going to put that for created UTC and also the upvote ratio. Okay, I'm going to save that. I'm going to change a few things that we don't actually need. So I'm going to remove this task template because we can't do question answering with this data set. No, we can't. It's at least not extractive question answering. We can't train with that. For the home page, let's put this, I suppose. Okay, supervised keys is none. And what else do we have here? So description. It's a demo, we know that, okay. Okay, let's save this and try again, okay? So I'm going to copy this over into Hugging Face, come here, not here, here, edit. Going to come here, select all, paste, and I am going to commit those changes. Now let's have a look at what happens if we load a data set. So come back over here, test data set. Let's run this. Let's see what happens. Okay, it loaded well. It loaded correctly. That's a good sign. Come down here. And now we can see that these are no longer strings, but they're actually floating point numbers. Okay, so that's everything. There are maybe a few aesthetic things to change here. So the citation, we'll change that. Up here, I can change this as well, but we're not going to go through that in this video. I don't think you want to watch me change citations. So yeah, that's everything for this video. In the next video, what we're going to do is take a look at taking this a little bit further and adding more advanced data types like images into our data sets. So until then, I hope this has been useful. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again in the next one. Bye.